My name is Courtney Bates, and I am your host for Where the Heart Is, a monthly show about the programs and services Franklin County Home Health Agency provides to our community. Our care spans a lifetime, from home visits to pregnant women and their babies to people at the end of their life through hospice. On today's show, we interviewed several of our board members who will share their personal stories about why they serve on our board, the challenges they see facing home health care in today's economy, and where they see Franklin County Home Health Agency going in the future.
The reason I volunteer with Franklin County Home Health is because I firmly believe in the vision of the corporation and the role that we play in delivering quality health care for folks in across the whole spectrum of life. I was introduced to home health when my dad was sick and dying, and now actually my husband is a client of home health. So I see firsthand, day in and day out, the quality of the service that they provide and the caring that they bring to their clients. I feel it gives me an opportunity to use some of my skills and bring my expertise to the table in a way that can be helpful to the agency, and it's a little way that I can give back in terms of giving back a little bit on what I've received. I hope that home health, as a key player in the whole continuum of healthcare, is financially viable and stable because it does play such an integral part. I think with all of the debate and the political aspects of healthcare in these days and times, that it introduces a lot of uncertainty. I hope within 5 years that things have stabilized, that there's less unknowns in healthcare, and that our home health folks, our visiting nurses, are a key and integral player in that continuum. I think we have a huge public policy issue right now with all the different providers in that continuum, and the reimbursement strategies, and having a sense of equity and fairness across. The players are so integrated in making sure that the patient receives good quality health care across the spectrum, that integration and interdependency, I think really we need to look at and make sure that there's some equity and fairness across all the players. Last thoughts, it's been a real honor to serve as the head of the board here at Franklin County Home Health. It's been a great opportunity to meet good folks across our county and make some new friends, if you will, and build some relationships. So it's been a real honor for me. So I thank everyone for that.
I decided to volunteer on the board of Franklin County Home Health mainly to give back to my community. I originally joined Home Health back in the mid-90s, and I was so impressed at the dedication of the staff, the impact that they had on the community, and it was just such a great organization, and is such a great organization, that I have continued to volunteer pretty much nonstop ever since. So it's basically giving back to the community and seeing the impact that the staff of Home Health has on the patients of Franklin County. It does give me a sense of pride of being affiliated with Franklin County Home Health, and again, just seeing the impact that the staff has on the community is very impressive. So just from that connection, I'm very proud to serve on this board. As probably you and many of your viewers recognize, healthcare and delivering home healthcare services in the state of Vermont is becoming increasingly challenging from a financial perspective. So in 1 year, 2 years, and 5 years, I really hope that Franklin County Home Health can gain the financial stability and/or get the financial resources to continue to deliver the excellent care that they currently provide. Well, there's no easy solution. Obviously, the financial situation from a healthcare perspective in the state of Vermont is under duress. Nationally, there's a huge debate, and Medicaid, Medicare are under a lot of stresses, so I don't think you can wave a magic wand. One possibility that we have discussed and hopefully will come to fruition is if a lot of the home health agencies or local patient provider hospitals, et cetera, can band together and gain some efficiencies from a financial perspective. Basically finding a financial partner or a partner in the healthcare sector that we can gain some efficiencies, but there's no easy solution. From my observations since the mid-1990s, Franklin County Home Health is unique because of its staff and its managers. As your viewers know, Franklin County itself has one of the most rapidly aging populations in the state, and the need for home health services is great. And the patient care that I've seen some of the nurses and the managers and even the senior management provide is just amazing. And I can't speak highly enough about this agency.
I volunteer for Franklin County Home Health for a number of reasons. One, it's such a critical organization to the health and population of our community, especially folks who are sick and don't want to be or can't be in a hospital or near the end of their life, getting the treatment they need. Hospice care is so critical. When my grandmother, when I was in high school, was near the end of her life, hospice really was comforting both for her and for our family towards the end. And actually my wife, who's now an RN, when we were dating in high school, worked for Franklin County Home Health as a visiting LNA during the summers and part-time. So she's always had affinity for the organization. So when Janet and others asked me to get involved, I jumped, without any hesitation, just knowing if I can help perpetuate this organization any way I can. It's a small piece of giving back to an organization that means so much to so many. Like anything, it's just good to be involved and really make a difference. It's you often find in life or anything, it's about the relationships you build and that carry on and mean more than anything. Time is fleeting, but organizations seem to surpass time and make it further. So if, like I said, being a younger member of the organization to help perpetuate it for another generation will be something, that someday hopefully I can look back fondly on and say, I helped carry it for the next 50 years for the people who've, carried it up to this point. Yeah, I think healthcare as a whole is, a mess that, if you will, to not have a better word for it, but home health especially, they're all struggling in all areas. But when we're really looking at quality of care as holistically, from keeping people healthy and keeping them out of, whether it's after surgery and keeping them, from getting infections where home health comes in, and keeping people out of expensive like nursing homes and so on, we really need to look at, as we're changing models of care, allowing home health to get the resources they need and understanding that it's part of the whole part of care. And it's, we often think primary care, hospitals, nursing homes, but, there might be an option that makes people more comfortable. Like I said, when I talk about my grandmother, she didn't want to go to a nursing home. She didn't want to go to a hospital. She wanted to be at home. And without these organizations being present and thriving and having the resources they need, that's not an option for our seniors. So if I had a wand, I'd make sure they had the resources they needed, and really the understanding of the general public. A lot of people don't, like so many things, people don't realize the importance of it until they need it. And unfortunately, most of us don't need the service until later in our lives. So it's not something, most people think about on a daily basis or even on a regular basis. Yeah, I serve really on 3 boards, and they're kind of 3 areas that I think are important. I serve on this board, I serve on the Samaritan House board, and then I serve on the board of the St. Albans Skating Association. Kind of different criteria in life. With skating and hockey was important to me growing up and keeping our youth involved in the community and giving them an avenue. Volunteer for that one. Samaritan House is, housing so critical to overall health folks and really kind of the later stages of life. Like I said, you get to home health and taking care of people holistically. Healthcare in general has always been important. My sister's a nurse. My wife's a nurse. I worked for a hospital for a number of years, so I understand how important it is to quality of life and how important of an infrastructure piece it is, like those other 2 boards. And so with limited amount of time, I kind of looked where I could spread out, my time and have an impact in, as broad of an area as I can. And home health really kind of allows me to understand such critical issues going on, within healthcare and some of the cost drivers. And so it does, allow insight. And I think it's important. This board's always done a good job keeping a Franklin County legislator on it. I know Barbara Murphy in the past served on the board. Kathy Keenan has given a number of years of service. And I think having an advocate down in Montpelier who understands what's going on in the inner workings of this organization is important. And so I'm glad to kind of fill in that role too.
Well, I volunteered for home health about a year after I retired from nursing, and I was a school nurse for a couple of decades or so, and I've always been interested in home health and in nursing and in health promotion, and I just find that home health covers it all for all ages, does such an incredibly important job of making sure that people can get the health care that they need at home when they need it at home and when it benefits them at home. And it can make such a difference in terms of staying at home where you want to be, in terms of better recovery from surgery, in terms of a better start to a pregnancy and family, and or taking care of a child with a chronic illness. Hospice is so important. I mean, I can't say enough about it. So it's such a learning curve for me, too, to be on the board of directors and to be on some of the committees and to learn so much of what's involved and how the healthcare system affects home health and just what nurses and home health care staff do and how many different professionals there are and different services. And the challenges they have in taking care of people at home. So I guess that's in a nutshell. Well, I feel really good, and I think part of it's kind of selfish because the learning curve makes it fun for me and keeps me on my toes a little, and I just love learning about all the developments in health and in home health. I love the camaraderie of being on the board, and I have utmost admiration for the staff. Well, I think the number of, first of all, I had to talk at our town meeting because they were voting on whether to support Franklin County Home Health Agency, and there was this thing that came up about forced charity. And I thought, well, wait a minute here. First of all, individual towns can't provide that service, so they have to have a larger program. And second of all, I don't see it as charity. I see it as such an important service. However, the way things are, Franklin County Home Health does give about, is it $650,000 worth of charity health care or health care not covered by insurance or by self-payment. And I may have that number wrong, but it's a very large amount. So obviously, I know many people who've had home health care, friends, family, and it just makes an unbelievable difference. There are just so many people who need that, either a little bit or a lot, to keep them at home or to just keep them from floundering and running into problems or running back to the doctor unnecessarily. And we do so much monitoring, the telemonitoring, and all age groups. And then hospice. I mean, what can I say? We're all going to need, or many of us need it, and I am so glad to know it's available.
Well, my youngest child of 4 was graduating from high school, and I was looking for something else to do with my time while she was at college. And just at the right moment, Janet called me, and I've known Janet for many years and have seen her at different occasions that have to do with healthcare in the community. And I've always told her what a great job I think home health does. So when she called me to ask if I would be interested in being on the board, I jumped at the chance. One of the criteria is that you have a family member who has been served by home health, and I did. We did have a family member who was served by home health and really enjoyed it, and actually that family member was on one of the original boards of the Community Health Center back when it was in Enosburg Falls many, many years ago. So it was a nice way for me to become involved and give back. It makes me feel great. It gives me something to do with my time, and I know that it's worthwhile. I hope that I've been part of some solutions to some sticky problems, and just keeping the organization running. Home health makes a huge impact, mainly because people are staying in the hospital for such a short time now, and many people want to be at home as long as possible in their lives. So I see home health as an integral part of that. We couldn't do it without home health. Home health is like the bridge between going to see the doctor and being well again. So if you've been hospitalized for any reason at all, or have had, even outpatient surgery, or something that needs attending to for a long period of time, home health is there to help you and help your family members take care of yourself. I hope home health looks similar, has better technology, better access to people's homes, especially in the wintertime when we're all snowed in. I hope home health is better funded and better staffed so that everyone can be served, and maybe even that nurses and aides can go out in tandem so that it's safer for them. Oh, I want to say a big thank you. They are the hardest working people, I think, that I know. Anybody in the medical profession really is, but especially here when it's such a small organization and everybody has such an important job to do, and those jobs are often not highly rewarded monetarily, but people are here doing what they're doing, even if it's just sweeping someone's home or washing their dishes or changing a dressing. They're there because they love doing what they do and they love people.
I volunteered for home health many, many, many years ago. When I was first moved to St. Albans back in 1976 when Anna somebody or other was the executive director, and then Denny Bauer, and they were looking for an attorney to be on the board, and so they called me and said, you're new in town. It's a great way to meet some people. So I met some people. I can remember that Phil Condon was on the board and Dave Knights, and I can't tell you who else was on the board. Years later, in the early 90s, my dad moved in with us. He was born in 1906, and he died in 1995, so he was like 88 or so when he moved in with us. And at the time that he moved in with us, he had formerly been living in a nursing home in Colorado where my mom and my dad lived, but he wasn't going to be able to live in a home situation with my mother being the caretaker. So we volunteered to have my dad come in and live with us. He was not ambulatory. We needed to transport him from the bed to the chair, to the toilet, to the chair, to the bed, etc. And we had home health come in and provide a lot of the care that he needed. They came in regularly to give him baths. They did some physical therapy with him. Did the things that needed to be done. Oh, I feel good about it, but I volunteer for other organizations as well, so it's just one of the things that, as a member of the community, that I feel that there's an obligation to help the community out. Well, I think that there had been another attorney on the board, and so that this may be my last year. It's not my last meeting, but it might be my last year. And so the next person who's going to be on the board will fill in my shoes, would probably be an attorney. And I just think that my name came up as well. Quick story that my wife's grandfather was a professor of American history at Princeton, and he was called in to preside at a dinner meeting, to give a talk at a dinner meeting at one of the clubs in Princeton, and so the person introduced him and said, Dr. Jones was unable to be here today, but Dr. McElroy has kindly agreed to step in his stead. For this audience, we didn't need such a distinguished speaker, but a less distinguished speaker could not be found. So that may be the point of this story, is that they're really looking for somebody, and I was the best they could come up with. Oh, obviously it's important that there are people out there that aren't bad enough to be in a nursing home, or that there's not enough space in a nursing home for people, and that without the service, I don't know how the families would get by. It's been challenging these last 10 years or so, and the challenges are going to continue. Hopefully that the community, the various social service programs are going to be fully funding home health and giving us the money that we need to continue doing what we do.
Thank you for watching our show. To find out more about how Franklin County Home Health Agency can help you or a loved one, and to understand our full range of services, please visit our website at www.fchha.org. You can also call the agency with questions about how to receive home health care at 802-527-7531. Again, thank you for watching. Stay well.